Who's
I just tried to bully.
center it?
I tried to knock the bully out. Yeah.
I'm on it. Left side.
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Stephanie.
Hi, Carissa. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, real good. I have this like light that's shining in the background.
That's okay.
Glowing on my head. So, and then I know I see Melissa on, and I know that there are more people joining. Sometimes people won't join with the screen, so we might have some other people on and we won't know about it, but that's okay. We're going to get started so that we can start on time and end on time. And I have a free version of Zoom right now. So if it ends up cutting you off after like 40 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So I always have to make sure that I stay on task.
Yeah.
And I have a tendency, as you know, I have a tendency to ramble. So I'm going to try not to do that. But I'm going to get through the topics that we said we were going to cover. And then if there's questions, we can do those at the end. So I'll make sure that we save, about like 5 to 10 minutes for questions at the end. Hi, Melissa.
Okay.
And if you want to type something in the chat, you can do that. Or if you just want to write it down and save it for the end, that's okay too.
Okay.
Just so you don't forget. All right. Okay. So just to kick things off, and for anybody that joins afterwards, because we'll have this recorded, I'm Stephanie Miller, and I have been a coach now for about 3 years. I started this business actually with my husband. He was actually the first coach to sign up. So he's actually my upline. It's a little bit backwards from what most of the setups are, but we both, I was the first one to start. I really just started because I was going on my own health and fitness journey. And I was really at a place in my life where I was super uncomfortable with my body, with how my clothes were fitting, and just my confidence and everything. And I was approaching 40, and I was sort of getting to that point where I was like, okay, I need to do something because I don't feel like myself anymore. And I know it sounds very, very cliche, but it is 100% true that Beachbody like really changed my life. It really just changed my life in so many ways, not just from a physical perspective, but from a mental perspective. It just like, yes, the physical changes brought along confidence, but when I started coaching too, one of the job responsibilities, if you will, is to work on your own personal development up here too, because it's one thing to work on the physical aspects, but if you don't have the mindset behind that, then it's not going to last. It's not going to be sustainable change. So in order to be able to help other people and coach other people, you really have to be at your best self too. And so that really, I'm a total personal development junkie now. And if I'm not listening to a book every single day, there's something wrong, like, or a podcast, or, some type of thing that's going to fuel me and fill my heart, fill my brain with some kind of positivity. So it's changed me in that way too. And it's so cliche, but it's so true. Like, and you hear so many people say it, but it really does change your life. And even if you never do coach, it still does. It still touches your life in so many ways. And you end up naturally inspiring other people just by going on the journey yourself. So the one thing that I want to say about, hi Barno.
Hi everybody.
Barno is on our team. And Carissa and Barno know each other now from the challenge group. Right?
Now we can see each other.
So the one thing that I want to say is this is not just something that you do, and like whatever your goals are, like your goals can be anything for coaching. Like you can just have a goal of wanting to, help one person. Like that can be your goal. Or you could want to help 100 people. You could want to just make a little bit of extra money on the side. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe you work part-time, or maybe you have a full-time job. Like your goal can be anywhere from making a little bit of extra side money to replacing your full-time income. It doesn't matter what it is. Like that goal is up to you. And hi, Tamika, I see you. I don't know if she can hear us yet. Your goal can be whatever you want it to be. And it's our job as your leaders to help you to reach your goals, not to put goals of our own onto you. It's for you to say, this is what I want to do. And for us to say, okay, here's what you have to do to get there. So you do have to be coachable if you want to reach your goals. But at the end of the day, the business is up to you. But it's not easy, but it's simple. And it's simple because Beachbody alone, the company actually gives us so much. They give us so much training. They give us so many tools and resources. There are pages on Facebook with training that's going on from other coaches, even not just from corporate, but other coaches that are not even on your team are constantly giving you things to improve your business, ways to help people more effectively, ways to grow your business. So you not only have other coaches from the network helping you, but you also have corporate, and then you have our team, of course, too. So the support is everywhere. So it's not hard, but it's not easy either. Like it's just simple, and but you do have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. It's not an overnight success. And it kind of aligns with how our fitness and nutrition programs are. These aren't quick fixes. These are like lifelong sustainable changes that you make, and you create a lifestyle. It's the same thing with your business. Like if you really put the work in, you can really create a lucrative long-term business that, again, can be whatever you want it to be. So wanted to start off there. Barna is going to be speaking on a topic as well, so I'll let her introduce herself when it comes to that time. But I want to start off with one of the things that a lot of people like get nervous about with network marketing, and I just like to get this, like the elephant in the room, out of the way right off the bat, because a lot of people will ask, wasn't that a pyramid scheme? Because network marketing kind of has like this little taboo about it. And if I'm being honest, like when I first started, I will never forget, I actually had a conversation with someone at work that was interested in what I was doing. And I had no idea what I was talking about, okay? And she said something, she asked me a question about like the business side of it. And I said, oh yeah, it's like kind of like a pyramid scheme. I had no idea what I was saying. And I realized months later that I was like really like downgrading like the business in a big time way. So no, pyramid schemes, I come to find out later, are illegal. And Beachbody actually has an A++ rating with the Better Business Bureau. So Beachbody has been in business for over 10 years. I think it's actually closer to 20 years at this point. That's right, because Shakeology has been around for 10 years. That's where I was mixing that up. We wouldn't be in business this long if we were a pyramid scheme. The reason that people sometimes think of a pyramid scheme is because when you build a team, like if you're really creating a business and you want to create that long-term sustainable income, you do build a team, and everyone that is a coach on your team contributes to the team, but nobody can really take advantage of the volume that the team is generating if they're not contributing themselves. So just to give an example, like Barno is a coach of mine, and every time that I sign a coach on that side of my business, because you have this side and this side, Barno's over here. And every time I sign a coach over here, they go like underneath her in this tree sort of fashion. And then anybody that makes a sale or purchases something on their own, that volume all rolls up. So it helps everybody. So everybody ends up benefiting from the team, but it's not like you're not getting a cut of someone's paycheck. It's just there's this volume that's created. Beachbody actually sets aside company revenue to pay out bonuses for that. So it's not that you're taking, a portion of anybody's commission or anything like that. It's just the team generates volume. And if you generate volume as well, then you can benefit from that too. So that's just a really high level, but I don't get a cut of anybody's commission either. Like that's just not how it works. It's just all percentages that Beachbody sets aside. It's actually like 2% of the company revenue. And there's different levels of bonuses that you can earn as you grow in your business. And you can really, I see kids saying goodnight. And you can really earn, like at this point in my business, I actually earn more from team cycle bonuses than I do from just regular old commission. Because I've grown my business to that extent. So that's the first thing that I wanted to address. And the second thing is, a lot of people are afraid of selling because yes, network marketing is selling. You do have to sell things if you want to make an income. But again, as you grow, if you do want it to be something long-term, you can start to take advantage of these team cycle bonuses too. But you're always going to have to do something. Like you have to continue to work. There's nobody that's just sitting back and collecting paychecks and not working themselves. But I will say that, so when I worked in my full-time corporate world, I actually, in the last few years that I was there, I worked directly with the sales department. And it wasn't the healthiest of relationships, just being completely honest there. We were a product development team and they were sales. So everything that they wanted, they requested from us. And it was something that I really had a negative experience with. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could never sell. Like I used to say that, like I would never be able to work in that department. And so I shocked myself when I actually started doing this, because when I looked back on it, I was like, oh wow, I'm actually selling. But I never felt that way. So it didn't even cross, it wasn't even a second thought for me, because I had already been using the products and using the programs and experiencing these life changes that I was like, why wouldn't I want to share that with somebody else? Why wouldn't I want to help somebody else feel that same way that I'm feeling? And because I just, from mom to mom or woman to woman, like whatever type of relationship you have with somebody, people are naturally going to ask you and you're going to share. It's just like anything else that you love. And, you might love a coffee shop that you go to and you talk about it. Or I love FabFitFun boxes. I talk about them and I share about them, like on my social media pages. I love, certain restaurants that I go to. It's the same thing. It's just something that you love, that you have a great experience with. And in this case, you just so happen to you can earn some money with it too. But it really is because you are making an impact on someone's life. It doesn't feel at all like you're selling. I've never felt that way once. And if I've ever gotten close to that, if I was pushing for maybe a goal or something like that, and I started to feel icky, I would take a step back and say, what am I doing? Like, that's not what I'm here for. Because I would never be doing this if there wasn't the reward with it of helping other women to gain confidence and change their health for the future. So that's what I wanted to say about that. And as far as being too busy, because that's another thing that a lot of people are worried about. There's a lot of coaches on our team actually now that are working full time, demanding jobs. Kelly and Amy are great examples of, Amy has little ones at home and she works, 50 to 60 hours a week. Kelly has older kids, but she's in the same boat. And they find a way to make it work because it's important to them. Whatever is a priority to you, you're going to find time in your life for. It's just like with your health and fitness. If you want to make time for that, if that's important to you, then you will make time for it. So it's really never a matter of being too busy. It's just a matter of making it a priority and finding those pockets of time throughout your day. Everybody's different in how their day is structured. So for me now, it might seem like I have more flexibility because I'm home, and I probably technically do. But I started this when I was working full time. I started this working a 50+ hour a week job. And, was I at the place that I am now? No, but it's because of the sacrifices that I made at that time that I was able to get to a point where I could be home now. And, I would not watch TV at night. I loved watching TV on the couch at night and watching my favorite shows, but I DVR'd them instead, and I found other times to watch them when I wasn't, taking time away from Julia or Ben. And that's just how I did it. Or I would wake up early in the morning and, when we'd commute on the way into work, I'd have my phone out and because I'm not a morning person. So I don't like to really talk in the morning. So we would drive into work. Ben would driving Miss Daisy, and I'm on my phone doing some work. So I made it work within an hour to 2 hours a day at that point, in different pockets. And I know that Kelly and Amy are doing the same thing. Because I talk to them on a regular basis. Barno, I know, is, she works full time and has little one at home and older kids too. And she works from home, but she still has to balance all of her time. So again, it just comes down to making it a priority. And that's another example of where Beachbody really gives us so much to be successful. There's a tracker that they provide to you, and it was actually designed, the content of it was truly designed by coaches, successful coaches. And it just has all the vital activities that if you want to be successful and reach your goals, that you would do those activities on a daily basis. It even comes down to time. Okay, 20 minutes to do this, 15 minutes to do this. So it really lays it out for you very specifically. So that's what I follow now. I'm up at 5:15 every day because I know that Julia is going to be up by it's summertime. So, kids are out of school and you got to tend to them throughout the day, but I don't want to take time away from her. So I get up early and I start with that tracker first thing in the morning. So again, it's just priority and working with, I'm always happy to help people sort of figure out a schedule for how they can make it work based on what their life looks like at that time. I can always give feedback and input, but at the end of the day, it's up to each individual person to really figure out what works best for them based on what their goals are. So, all right, so I'm going to flip it over to Barno for a minute and maybe just do a really quick introduction, Barno, and then you can talk on your topic.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, my name is Barno, and I've been in this particular field, not just in the coach, but I started with Stephanie, and she actually was she is my upper coach, and I started as a just regular custom, and then switched to a discount coach, just so that I can get discounts on my Shakeology at that time. So I started at like, well, it's almost 2 years now. Um, Time goes so fast, and but I started really coaching as a business just probably a few months ago. um, my first my first person that I signed up was back in March, so I'm not as a successful coach as Stephanie is, but going there little by little. So and of course, all those fears that you perhaps may have, I had at that time too. I still have them sometimes. I still like feel like, nope, I'm not doing this thing right, or I'm not doing this the way it's supposed to. But um, having that support from Stephanie and other people on the team actually, gives us that vision of how I want to lead my business here from home. I do work in a full-time job. We have this privilege of working from home. And even though I am at home, I'm still working those 8 hours a day. And now since kids are home, you kind of have to keep an eye on them too, so that they don't leave the door open in the refrigerator or burn the stove or something. So it's a bit like you have to balance it. But in the for my business, I mean, for the coaching business, just like Stephanie mentioned, I do a little bit of work in the morning before I start my work, and in the lunchtime, in the breaks, like I would check and respond to the some messages. And most of the time I do it at night. I'm a night owl. i cannot I cannot think clearly in the morning because I'm still kind of tired and sleepy. But I'm most of the time like prepping my posts and kind of you know sketching some thoughts on the paper. So that is at night, of course. But when I started, I thought that I would never be a coach. I don't have that thing in me that would make me a coach. But then, of course, Stephanie mentioned, she's like, "Hey, you're already coaching. What do you mean you're not coach? You're responding to the people in our challenge group." Um, and she said that responding and supporting people throughout their journey while I am on my own journey in the challenge group is part of a coaching. You're cheering up for them, you're giving advices, you're sharing recipes with the people. So this is how you actually make a coach. You support people while you're still on the same journey as other ladies, as other women or mothers on their own journeys. So you're sharing your recipes, you're sharing your ups and downs, and you're kind of asking for advice at the same time. So this is part of a coaching. And then I kind of had that light bulb moment in my head, thinking, yes, I am coaching, I am helping people. And this was the time when I decided, well, let's try it in full force and see if I can actually make it as a business, as a side business too. So, and this is where I started making some more um, sharing posts and inviting people, and you know um, showing my successes, and of course sharing my downs, the struggles too. So I think this is where if you, the thing is that if you're supporting other people, then you have that thing in you to be a coach. You know, you kind of helping them on the way, the same, you know, like you bringing them up while they're struggling, you're sharing their successes, you're cheering them up, and, you know, people getting inspired by that and moving forward, you know, on their own journeys too. So
Yeah, that I couldn't have said it better. I mean, I think the really important thing, I think, for everyone to know is that you don't have to be an expert at any of this. Like, it's not about being an expert. Beachbody does that for us. Like, they give us the fitness programs, they give us the nutrition programs, they have nutritionists and personal trainers and all of that, and, you know, marketing people and everything that provide us with the tools that we need to support other people. Our support comes from here. Our support comes from the heart. Like, that's where it comes from. Yes, sure, you have to, you know the products and like have an understanding of the different programs that are available so that you can help people through them, so you can guide them. But you're not, you know, you're not like the person that they're going to come to and say, you know, ask you specific nutrition questions and that you're expected to have an answer. Now, granted, over time, as you learn, as you go through the different programs, like I'm a Portion Fix person, like that's my program that I've been following for years. I use the containers. So I've learned, you know, and I've gotten certified in that as well, but I'm certified to coach it. I'm still not a nutrition expert. It's just that I've learned so much over the years from my exposure to it. So I can answer more questions now, but I didn't start off that way. Like, I started off just like Barno said, you know, you're going through it too. And I'm still going through it myself today. I'm just at a different place in my business now. That's all. But people relate to the beginner. They relate to the person who is, you know, still really in the thick of their journey. It's just more relatable that way. I have to, at this point, I relate to people in a different way. And a lot of times I speak to some of my newer clients or newer coaches to use those as examples, since maybe I'm in a different place now. So as your business evolves, the way that you relate to people evolves too, if that makes sense. And I think, you know, I did a post last night about one of the coaches on our team, Amy, who unfortunately was going to talk last night, but since we had to postpone to tonight, she wasn't able to speak. But she has been on her weight loss journey for the last, I mean, really, honestly, her whole life, if she'll tell you that. But Beachbody was the first thing that she found that she's stuck to. Even though she's not fully at her goal yet, she's been consistent for the last 3 years. And she's, you know, slowly over time made progress, but she's not afraid to tell you that she's not at her goal, and that she's still working hard to get there, and that she has ups and downs just like all of us do. And sometimes people think like, well, who would join me if I'm not at my goal yet? Everyone. Everyone wants to join you when you're going through it with them. And I think that's the important thing to remember too, is that as you're sharing, as you're going through your journey, it's so important to share in the beginning stages, because that's when you can just invite people to join you and do it alongside you, not to, you know, buy something off of you. Do this with me. do this with me. Let's hold each other accountable, and support each other. So, and just one more thing, and then we'll, like, if you guys have questions, we can talk through that. But back to kind of the too busy, or, you know, I don't have time or whatever. Beachbody has a call every Monday. It's called the National Wake Up Call. And they basically, it's held on Facebook. They put it on a podcast, I believe, too. But it's coaches throughout the network that share pieces of, you know, they basically share things that are working for them, things that are working for them. And they're coaches that are sometimes brand new. They might be in the business for a year, or they might be in the business for 10 years. So my point with that is that you see all different levels of coaching. You see from the people that are still just doing it part-time, and maybe you always want to do it part-time, but you see all of that. I've watched teachers leave their jobs. Katie Ersta, our coach, was a teacher when she started, and she was actually diagnosed with cancer, stage 4 lymphoma. And she had wanted to take an extended maternity break after her second son was born. And then, so she did, they saved up enough money to take this extended break. And then she was diagnosed, and then she was left with no health insurance. So, and now she is a 7-figure earner in this business. And again, I'm not saying that people's goals have to be that. I'm just saying, like, you can go through a lot of different things in life and still make this happen. There are lawyers that just do this on the side because they love it. Like, and they're lawyers. We know that they're busy. And they have demanding jobs. There are, moms with 5 kids at home that are doing it.
Yeah, I have one around here.
I saw her. Hi, Aiden. Yeah, I mean, there's so much variety and so many different goals and so many different ways that you can do it. So anybody, there's always another you out there that that can show you what's possible. All right, so that's what we have. So does anybody have any questions? No?
Stephanie, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you have somewhere with like specific numbers income wise? Like, I know the numbers change depending on how your business grows, but I guess like just starting out, what kind of additional income comes in?
Well, okay, so there is a document that shows the average Beachbody earnings for coaches. I have that. It's not necessarily like from beginning to, 3 years in necessarily. There are lots of different examples of different coaches and their income progression, but there's not something that gives like an average progression that I'm aware of. I could ask, but I'm not sure if that's available. But there is average income by all coaches, and there is specific income progressions. So I have a group that I actually keep on Facebook for anybody who is like curious about coaching. If you guys aren't already in that, I'll make sure that you get added to it. And then that's where I can put some of that information in for you to take a look at.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Good question. Any other questions?
Not on my end.
Okay. Hi, Charlotte. I can't hear you. You're muted.
Oh, I'm muted. Hi.
Hello. Thanks for joining, guys. I really appreciate it. So, I mean, obviously, like, if you guys have questions afterwards, you can go to the person who invited you here and talk to them offline. We have this call recorded, so I will send that to you guys individually afterwards as well. And so, if you missed something or maybe if you missed the beginning or something, you can go back and watch it. But obviously, like, any questions are fine to ask. So just ask them as you think of them. It's important to make sure that you understand everything, of course. And we've only covered like a small piece of it. These are some of the things that we know that people have hesitations about when it comes to deciding to coach or not. So I think we just want to make it clear that truly anyone can do this if they make it somewhat of a priority. And, in all the priority, like we all have a list of priorities in our lives. It has to be, if you want to make something out of it, then it has to be somewhere in that priority list. You just have to make time for it, basically. How much time you make for it is up to you. And, there are people that, that maybe can only work 3 days a week on their coaching business, but they bust out a ton of work in those 3 days. So it's just, the opportunities are limitless, really. It's just what you make of it. The more effort you put in, the more results you're going to see with it. Same, again, aligning it with your health and fitness. It's the same thing. So yeah, anybody can do it, but you also have to have, like, you have to want to help people. Like, you really have to have that at heart, because this isn't a selling business. The selling is secondary to the wanting, kitty.
I'm watching 5 right now. I've got this one behind me here. I have one in a box, one under a chair, one on my bed, and that one that just popped up there.
I love it.
My 2 friends and her parents are all on vacation, so I'm staying at their apartment watching these lovely cats right now.
Aw, how cute.
I just wish she was here.
Aiden, are you waiting for your mommy to go to bed?
She is.
Yeah.
She's my little tail. This is
know.
why I prefer. Stop. This is why I prefer to work when she's sleeping, and not all around me.
Oh, and she's got the giggles now too.
Uh-huh.
That means it's definitely time for bed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, Julia, well, we have less than a minute, so it's going to cut us off, but I'll tell that story the next time. But anyway, I hope that this was helpful for you guys, and just send any follow-up questions afterwards. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you guys all have a great night.
Thanks,
Nice
Stephanie.
to see
Thank
everybody.
you. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
And put
Bye-bye.
the names to the face. Bye-bye.
Bye.